So I think I'm going to start. So yeah, as I was saying, this is the beginning of a new series that Dharma Siddhi, Satya Parul and I, and probably a little bit of help from Arta Siddhi, will be leading over the next 8 weeks. And we're just going to be exploring how to support and maintain a consistent meditation practice on and off the cushion, as we say. There's more, in a way, there's quite a bit more to meditation than just plonking yourself down and closing your eyes and doing the stages. As you're probably, I'm sure, very well aware. So you do need quite a lot of support, you need some input. It's very good to sort of find your teachers, to find your thread and allow yourself to be supported and sustained by that. And what we'll do is we will be exploring meditation, experiencing meditation. There'll always be a guided sit, and we'll be staying very close, or attempting to stay very close to the Dharma, the teachings of the Buddha, who is our main source of inspiration in our practice. So we're going to stay close to the principles of the Dharma in the way that we sort of explain and experience meditation here. But it might not be completely obvious that that's what we're doing, because we want to make it very relevant as well to modern experience, contemporary experience. And tonight we're going to begin with practicing the Metta bhavana, and I thought I would share with you actually how I'm practicing Metta at the moment. I really love this practice and I find it very, very challenging to this day. I think I must have been practicing the Metta bhavana now for 18 years. That's a little bit unbelievable, 18 years. The first time, I remember the very first time I went into a meditation class, it was a Metta bhavana class. And I just remember being really struck by the practice and realising what I think in some dim way that wasn't quite able to articulate to myself, recognising the potential of this practice. I was, someone who swung from deep depression to kind of euphoria, was always getting into scrapes with other people and situations, a bit of a drama queen. Life was exciting, but it was very, very painful and unpredictable. And I remember sitting in that class thinking, there's something in this, understanding that this practice offers to free me from myself in a way that is devoutly to be wished. But in order to get free of yourself and your situations, you really need to know yourself. You really need to know yourself and understand how it is that you create the world around you. In order to go beyond yourself, that's what you need to do. So I continue to find this practice very challenging, but oddly I never get really demoralised. And I think one of the secrets to that for me is mindfulness of breathing. And in a way, this might be all that I have to say about mastery this evening. In a way, mindfulness of breathing, which in some ways is kind of, well, for me, I find it easier. It's got these 4 distinct stages. I know what I've got to do. If I do it with the right kind of attitude, then it's always a useful, helpful, pleasurable experience, mindfulness of breathing. Sometimes it's a lot more than that, but I can just go to mindfulness of breathing as a kind of a default. And that gives me a sort of a sense of mastery, I suppose. I mean, I managed to stay with the breath for 40 minutes, and there's a feeling of achievement about that. But I think mindfulness of breathing and metta are also very profoundly interconnected. So for me, I'm always doing a bit of metta when I'm doing my mindfulness, and I'm always doing mindfulness when I'm doing my metta. And it's getting the right proportion can really make the difference between a very satisfying sit and a less satisfying one. So I'm going to lead us through a period of the Metta Bhavana. Now I'm going to guide us through. So I'm just going to give you a few moments to settle into your posture. And we're going to be using the traditional phrases. I've been exploring this for quite a few weeks and months, actually. The phrases in Metta Bhavana and finding it quite helpful. So I thought I'd take you through that. Then I'll do a little bit of talking, maybe 10 minutes, and then there'll be an opportunity for questions and answers and reflections on the practice that we've been doing. So let's just settle into a period of meditation, Metta Bhavana. And what we'll do is I will lead us through the first stage of the Metta Bhavana using the phrases. Using the phrases as a sort of signpost to how to engage. So just beginning with, may I be well. May I be well just now in this moment, settling into the practice. So I need to spend some time attending to my posture, using the weight of my body to ground me, surrendering, if you like, to the force of gravity, just allowing the lower half of the body to be heavy. Noticing the contact with the ground, noticing the points of support. Sitting bones, perhaps the feet and the knees. Then we're perhaps taking your attention to the upper part of the body. Just noticing the action of the ribs as you breathe, how the chest expands with the incoming breath. Perhaps noticing how that gives the upper part of the body a sort of lift. Just letting the shoulders drop, be loose. Loosening and lengthening the back of the neck. Allowing the crown of the head to travel towards the ceiling. The face tips down towards the ground and the chin tucks under. Hands are at rest. So the whole body now achieves the dignity of the meditation posture. May I be well. Connecting to the breath. The friendly, sustaining breath. Resting my attention on the breath, allowing that to become the center of my focus. If it's helpful, maybe using the mindfulness of breathing, counting, noticing the end of the out-breath, relaxing, connecting to the beginning of the in-breath, gathering energy. May I be well, may I be focused. And then if there is some focus coming together in the practice, moving on to the next phrase, may I be happy. Just keeping it in the moment, noticing all the positive elements of your experience just now. The simple pleasure of the breath. May I be happy. Drinking in the friendly breath. May I be well and happy just in this moment. Perhaps noticing tingling, temperature, stillness. Preciousness of the meditation. Gift to yourself. May I be happy. Just keeping it simple. Perhaps just connecting with the heart center. And if you do feel a sense of well-being, gentle happiness, perhaps you can broaden your awareness. Just bring to mind a good friend. Just simply bringing to mind, perhaps looking into their smiling face. May I be happy. Gratitude for the friend. Perhaps broadening and thinking, reflecting on other positive aspects of your experience. Your health, your relationships, the day you've had in the sun. Just gathering the positive emotions. May I be well. May I be happy. So if you have gathered some positive momentum, now you can drop in the phrase, may I be free from suffering. Just seeing if you can notice what's getting in the way. Maybe there's some physical pain, or the residue of difficulty with a friend or a relative in your experience. Seeing if you can turn towards that. Letting go of grasping or pushing away, softening. May I be free from suffering. So a difficult person might come to mind. Just noticing the impact that that is having on your experience and using your knowledge of meditation, just to gently work with that. May I be well. May I be happy. May I be free from suffering. Breath can be very helpful as a focus for softening, releasing. Not forgetting to scan the body for tension. Now the final phrase, may I make progress. This is like an invitation to let go of your self-concern and really open your heart to your friend. So perhaps bringing the friend to mind, seeing if you can really step into their shoes, see the world through their eyes. Realize that you're just a tiny footnote in the history, in their biography. There's so much more to your friend than you. Seeing if you can connect with the truth of that, going beyond self-concern, by imaginatively concerning yourself with another. May they be well and happy. Staying connected to the breath and the body. If you get distracted or overwhelmed, you can always just start from the beginning. But if you are feeling focused, positive, perhaps you could now spend some time connecting with a difficult person. Again, recognizing there's so much more to that person than you are able to see. Vulnerability, the desire to be loved, the wish to make progress themselves in their lives. Letting go of your expectations of the difficult person. Seeing if you can imaginatively let them be and wish them well. So this short period of practice will come to an end in a couple of minutes. So now would be a good time just to let go of all that effort. Just sit for some moments. Noticing how you're feeling, the emotional tone of your experience just now. And as I ring the bell, in your own time, opening your eyes and coming out of the meditation posture. So yeah, it's a bit of a whistle-stop tour through the Metta Bhavana. But I wanted to share with you how I'm working with and exploring those phrases. And sometimes I imagine that it's the Buddha saying these phrases to me. A bit like maybe a parent with encouraging a child who's on the climbing frame, just telling me where to put my feet next. It's as if these phrases, well, they sort of chart out a progression in meditation practice. Which I'll say a little bit more about. But you could say, I think, that a definition of what it is to be a Buddhist is that you believe in the potential for human beings, including yourself, to grow and develop. And not just grow and develop into shinier, more effective, more successful, more lovable versions of yourself, but to really grow, even grow beyond being human, at least to feel a profound sense of connectedness, interconnectedness with all beings. That could be, I think, a definition of a Buddhist. Someone who believes that that is possible and who is pretty much willing to do everything it takes to sort of get there. And of course the Buddha, this is what the Buddha, our teacher, this is the path that the Buddha sort of describes for us. And the Metta Bhavana, I think it could very convincingly be argued in a way that the Metta Bhavana is the really the unique offering that the Buddha gave. You know, he operated in a culture that was highly sophisticated as far as meditation practices were concerned. But I think the Metta Bhavana has the fullest flavour of the Buddha's teachings. And it's precisely this thing of going beyond self, but not abandoning yourself. There's a need to take care of yourself and to be well and happy. And traditionally, a Buddhist memorises a key teaching of the Buddha. In the Buddha's time, there was no writing, so his followers would memorise his teachings. And I think we underestimate the importance of memorising a teaching and reflecting on it. And I think that these phrases in the Metta Bhavana are a really good way of sort of beginning to do that. And they operate, I think, at what I think of as a macro level and a micro level. So I was trying to just now give you a flavour of how the phrases can inspire you at a micro level, just on the cushion, in the moment, allowing them to be, in a way, like the stabilisers on a bike or something, that just get you through the practice in good order. You know, so you start by being well, and then you start to cultivate a positive, happy attitude. Then you're ready to work with the hindrances. And then when you've mastered that, then you're ready to go beyond. So all of the techniques, all of the principles that we teach you are going to be the tools that you can use as part of this progression at the micro level. But it also, these phrases work at a macro level, I think. My grandfather had a phrase that he said every morning, which was, every day and every way I'm getting better and better. That's my grandfather's, that was my grandfather's ideal. I still think it's a really sweet thing that he did that. And I think the power of affirmation is also something to be taken seriously. So to really take these phrases in and live them out. May I be well, may I be happy, may I be free from suffering, may I make progress, and may I wish that for all beings. So are you well? Are you living well? I think back then, 18 years ago, I liked nothing better than to drink, 3 or 4 pints of Guinness of an evening and just get myself into trouble. And I enjoyed struggling through a hangover, actually. That was something I quite enjoyed. But as meditation began to take a hold on my life, I realised I began to really appreciate the importance of, not waking up with a hangover. What a strange thing that is to do. So we need to reflect, am I well? Am I happy? We have the right to be happy. Am I free from suffering, or am I attached to my causes of suffering? So we can allow those questions to inhabit our lives, and a lot of what we do here at the Buddhist Centre is designed to sort of help you tackle those kinds of questions. And another thing that I was thinking about these phrases is that they're very characteristic of the Buddha's teaching, I think, in a particular way. It's like, I think of them as being a bit like a sprung hinge, in that the first 2 phrases are to do with now. May I be well, may I be happy. That's kind of, you can answer those questions, you can deal with those questions now. May I be free from suffering, may I make progress. They are to do with action. So they're kind of karmic. They feed into this whole thing about actions have consequences. So if I look after myself, if I'm well and happy, I'm more likely to make decisions, take actions that have positive consequences. And I think that's that's really the flavour of liberation and freedom that is very characteristic of the Buddha's teachings. A bit like the 4 Noble Truths. The 4 Noble Truths. If you don't know what the 4 Noble Truths are, then that's your homework. Go and find out what the 4 Noble Truths are and memorise them. You can probably find them on Wikipedia, but you can also ask. We can talk about them. I was going to talk about them a bit more, but we're running out of time. But essentially, the 4 Noble Truths teach us that, yes, life is unsatisfactory, but we can overcome the unsatisfactory nature of life. Basically boils down to clinging to self. And we can work with that. We can loosen our attachment to self, and that's going to bring us freedom. So I do want to leave some time for questions and answers. So I'm going to stop there Of course, there may be sort of just total radio silence out there. But I'd be very interested to hear how you got on, whether any questions have arisen or any reflections have arisen during the practice this evening.
There's that moment, but you might. There's a little time left as well, so.
Yeah. Well, we could sit again, I suppose.
Maybe you could tell us what the Four Noble Truths are, just in case no one has time for homework.
Do you know what the Four Noble Truths are, Liz?
Yes, of course I do. But I'm not leading this class.
Yes.
There we go. So Craig is asking the question, I suffer from deep-seated anxiety and find the self-metta very challenging. Any tips?
That's, yes, I think that's not actually an uncommon experience, Craig. So I think there's a couple of things. One thing is that it can be really helpful to start with the second stage, actually. It can be really helpful just to bring to mind your friends and maybe see yourself through the eyes of people who love you. And also, I think you can, I don't know if maybe Dharmasiddhi or Satyaparara or Liz would have something to say about this as well, but anxiety is quite a visceral experience, isn't it? So it can be good just to work with the direct experience of the anxiety, just to connect with the breathing. And the phrases can also be really, really helpful. Just to repeat the phrases and sit with the breath and allow the breath to soften and relax. I don't know if that's helpful, if anybody else has another tip.
I could add something, Vidyasakhi, about this question. Craig, yeah, it's a good question, Craig. Yeah, even seasoned metta-bhavanars of many, many years can sometimes find that first stage a bit daunting. So yeah, I'm totally with Vidyasakhi, and sometimes it's easier to start with a good friend just to get the flow of metta kind of off on a good footing, as it were, or an easier footing. In terms of like self, sometimes if I suppose a big part of metta is honesty, isn't it? And sometimes it's, we can want to get this flow of metta going, but sometimes we've got to trust that actually just being with whatever our experience is actually an act of metta, if you see what I mean. It's like, just say in your example, anxiety, just sort of tending to that anxiety with care is actually an act of metta. You may not feel the fruits of that in terms of a kind of pleasant flow of metta, which you may do with your friend more easily. But nevertheless, tending to difficult emotions that you're currently experiencing here and now is actually part of metta practice, is sowing seeds for the future, if you like, because you're starting to relate to your experience with a bit more kindness, a bit more patience, and also just, I think, recognizing that in a lot of our emotional states like anxiety or anger and what have you, there is a seed of care in them. You know, anxiety is a protective emotion, isn't it? It's a natural emotion and it's a protective emotion. It's not very easy to be with, I know, but nevertheless, there's a seed of care there because it's trying to protect you. Yeah. And sometimes if you just focus on the good intention of the anxiety, that can bring you into a different relationship with the experience in a way, rather than saying, oh my God, it's anxiety that's getting in the way of my metta bhavana. Holding it and seeing that it's not black and white. The anxiety's actually got a seed of care in it. And okay, maybe it's like maybe it's like I'm getting the image of my mother coming to mind. So it's a bit dangerous. But maybe it's like a mother that's trying too hard sometimes to help. You know, it can be a bit like, okay, yeah, thanks, mum, but you know, we just need to do this amount, and that's good. And maybe anxiety is a bit like an over helpful mother sometimes. I don't know if that's a useful image for you, but yeah, but I mean, just play around with that. I think get curious about the anxiety, get curious about what's actually there, and notice the different aspects of it. Also, another thing just to add is if meta's not flowing towards self, then I always kind of default to just gratitude, because meta in a way grows out of gratitude. So if it feels like, oh my God, you know, I brought myself to mind, nothing's happening, you know, what's going on, I'm not getting in, and then the critic starts kicking in, I would just kind of step back a bit maybe and go, well, what can I feel grateful for, you know, in my life? You know, it might be just simple things. You know, I've got some friends, I've got, you know, eat healthy, I go to the gym, you know, I give some money to charity, whatever it happens to be. It can be quite simple. And just connect with the positivity of the gratitude. And then sometimes from that, metta is more likely to flow. So that's a few other thoughts that I'd like to add into what's already been said. Hope it's food for thought.
Thanks very much, Dharmasiddhi. I think also, you know, just actually sharing it is one of these karmically positive actions. You know, it is, may I be free from suffering, to sort of share it, to bring it up like this is one of the actions that you can take to become free of it. Yeah.
There's a massive amount of stuff just came in the chat after that first question. With a lot of people saying thank you. Jeanette saying she'd been struggling with doing her own meditation without being guided, but really felt that the way you did the meditation that had been more relaxed. And Boris is asking about posture, wanting to know how flexible can he be in choosing his posture.
That's a good question. Yeah, I think with posture, I would never stop experimenting, actually. All that's important really with posture is that you achieve a stable, relaxed position. So for some people that's going to be sitting on a chair, for some people it's going to be sitting astride cushions, for some people it's going to be sitting cross-legged. And we just can, I would encourage you to explore and experiment. I change my posture because my body changes. So yeah, so be flexible. It's not, you know, there's not some kind of thing that you're trying to achieve, that some kind of, I don't know, strange contorted shape that you need to achieve in order to be able to meditate. It's what supports you being relaxed and focused and still in your meditation, and a sense of groundedness, connected. Yeah. I will say that we have a Monday morning meditation at 8 o'clock every Monday morning, and you could come to one of our Monday morning meditation sessions if you're able. I know it's quite early in the morning, but we have a breakout room, and if you wanted to explore posture in a sort of a Zoom group when we could explore a bit more, then we could do that on a Monday morning, one morning. It'd be really good to do a little posture workshop. Hope that helps.
And Selena says she really enjoyed tonight and found the Metta Bhavana helpful in everyday life and practices it in mini versions during the day. Yeah,
that's really good. I think it's really good this is one of the things I think we want to emphasise is you've got your practice. It is good to have, a regular, say, a morning practice of half an hour, 40 minutes on the cushion, dedicated, maybe with a shrine or something. But then also don't just leave it behind, explore it during the day. This is a powerful practice. It can really transform your life if you do that. So yeah, well done, Selena, for doing that.
And Jeanette just made the comment that there's always a delay in the typing as she's too relaxed after the meditation and can't remember how to type. Which I thought was a very good point.
Yeah, no, it is a good point. There's not a lot. I don't know, maybe we should get into voice typing. I think you can do voice typing.
Boris just says thank you very much for this evening and for your answer.
Yeah, no, it's a pleasure. It's such a pleasure to be here and to be with everyone. And thanks to Dharmasiddhi and Satyakara and Liz. It's lovely, and to all of you for coming. I'm just going to say a couple of things before we go. You may be interested in coming to our Sangha nights. Sangha is a community, Buddhist community, and we have a Sangha night on Tuesday nights, to which you're very welcome to come. And you'll find it on the website. I think Liz is going to put it up on the chat now. We've got a really interesting series at the moment. We're hopping around the world by Zoom, and we're meeting Buddhist centres across the world and asking the question, what makes me a Buddhist? So these are all Triratna Buddhist centres. Last week it was Mexico. I think you can catch up with that on YouTube, and it was amazing, really, really interesting. And next Tuesday it's India, so we've got strong connections with India, and we're going to go and meet some Indian Buddhists, friends of ours, on next Tuesday, and asking the question, what makes me a Buddhist? So that sounds really fascinating. So do come to that. Then there's also the Monday morning meditation, which happens at 8 o'clock every Monday morning. You can sit for 40 minutes with a gently guided sit. And we also do a breakout room where we can do posture workshops or talk about elements of meditation that you want to explore. So I'll be there on Monday, and I'll be leading the breakout room. So come along to that if you can. And in July, we're going to relaunch the building. So it's the last weekend of July, the 25th, I think, and the 26th. It's going to be a whole series of activities here at Cambridge Buddhist Centre, and you'll be able to come along in person. There'll be meditation, talks, activities, fun things, ritual, and of course lashings of tea and biscuits. So do come to that, put that in your diary. We'd absolutely love to see you there.
24th
and 25th, I think, as well. Yeah. And just a final thing, we're doing this for free. I'm not doing this for payment. But I am doing this for the Buddhist Centre. I want this Buddhist Centre to thrive so that we can sort of communicate the Dharma as widely as we possibly can. And in order to do that, we could really do with financial support. So many of you already have a standing order or make regular donations. And thanks very much for that. But if you would like to make a donation for this evening, Liz is putting the link up in the chat now. And we're just about to run over time, so I'm going to say on behalf of the team, good night. See you next week. It'll be Satya Parah next week on why you need a body to meditate. So see you there.